What if I told you there was a kink out there that was deadly? One that puts you in the grasp of danger? A kink that usually involves murder, or something just as bad? Well, that is what involves Hybristophilia. Hybristophilia is a kink or a fetish of loving or wanting to have sex with someone who has committed a serious crime. These are the people that wanted to marry Ted Bundy,
Notorious serial killer Ted Bundy,
and Charles Manson. These are the ones that write romantic letters to famous murderers. These are the ones that struggle to reach orgasm unless they know that their romantic partner has committed a serious crime. These are the ones that'll do anything for love. This is actually a perfect time to talk about this subject, seeing as there seems to be a societal phenomenon at the moment surrounding the CEO killer Luigi Mangione. Everyone is talking about him. A lot of people also love him, but we'll get into more on that later in the video. The word itself, hybristophilia, comes from the Greek word hubrizine, which means to commit an outrage against someone, and philo, meaning having a strong affinity or presence for. It can also be known as the Bonnie and Clyde syndrome, which seems to be its nickname deemed by culture over the years. It's known that women are a lot more likely to have hybristophilia than men, although men are definitely subject to it too, both gay or straight. However, if you are a man, you're more likely to have it if you're gay. However, a report via the Center of Homicide Research says no research or literature has been found that involved the diagnosis of hybristophilia on male subjects, or even any discussion of male populations as experiencing a sexual attraction to criminal behaviour. So basically, they're saying not much research has happened about the male side of this. That being said, if you have eyes and ears, you'll clearly be able to see that men love a good bad girl, or a bad boy. According to psychologists and sex experts, there's a lot of different theories and reasons as to why hybristophilia exists. Some people with it believe, quote, they can change him, unquote. Psychologists believe this is a nurturing, quote, fix them, tame them, unquote, kind of mentality, with psychologist Leon F. Seltzer adding that the attraction of strong dominant men is very appealing to a lot of women. However, most women realise that murder in today's society is a step too far. However, it doesn't take away the fact that you can still be attracted to them, no matter what the crime. Seltzer called this a, quote, primitive instinct, unquote. Some people see them as the man before the crime and looks past the crimes that they committed. Some people hope to share the spotlight and fame that comes along with such hideous crimes. For some people, someone being in prison is the, quote, perfect partner, as they get to be in a relationship with someone without having the commitment of day-to-day issues that come along with any normal relationship. There's also the fact of knowing where that partner is at all times, and also the fact that they would be constantly thinking about them. Some psychologists believe that history of sexual abuse as a child is involved in cases of hybristophilia, although this isn't strongly agreed within the psychology community, as there seems to be many cases of healthy, wealthy, stable people that have hybristophilia. Sheila Eisenberg wrote Women Who Love Men Who Kill, in which she interviews numerous of hybristophiliacs. She says that these women were seemingly normal, teachers, nurses, wives. Some found that many of these women, however, had a history of abusive or violent relationships. Some of these women knew the exact nature of their relationships, that it was morally wrong to be in love with a killer, while other women were extremely delusional and had idealized fantasies of their relationships. Louis Schlesinger, PhD, Professor of Forensic Psychology at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, says, in nearly every penitentiary across the country, you'll find female employees like lawyers, therapists, and guards getting involved with inmates. Some people believe hybristophiliacs are submissive victims, while others believe they are narcissistic enablers who are attracted to power. I believe this can differ from case to case. So with this, let's jump into some cases and examples of hybristophilia.
The young women themselves aren't too sure what it is that attracts them to the trial. Are you a little scared when you look at them?
Yes, it scares me to be in the same room with them, but I know there's other people in there, so.
Why do you do it?
I don't know.
Ted Bundy, the serial killer that killed 30 women, is one of the more well-known cases of hybristophilia.
The murder trial of Theodore Bundy goes into its fourth week in Miami. He's accused in the brutal slayings of two Florida State University sorority sisters in January 1978.
I won't spend too much time on his case as it's already well documented and well known. However, the amount of women that loved him, thought he was innocent, and proposed to him was insane.
Every time he turns around, I kind of get that feeling, oh no, he's gonna get me next,
But yet you're fascinated by him.
Very, very. Every night when I go to bed, I just, get very scared. I shut my door and lock him,
I'm not afraid of him. He just doesn't look like the type to kill somebody.
You try to imagine yourself in his place and to see how he's feeling, looking at the pillows with blood stains and everything, and if he really did it or not.
He received hundreds of love letters, some in particular were from Carol Ann Boone, whom he had met before the trial while working in Washington. She was already a married woman, however, he proposed to her in the middle of the proceedings while Boone was on the witness stand in 1979.
But that didn't stop him from trying to carry on with his life.
Will you marry me?
Yes, I will.
And I do hereby marry you. Thank you.
Bundy proposed to Carol Ann Boone in court during the sentencing phase of his trial.
Boone gave birth to a daughter, whom it was believed Bundy had fathered. Carol was documented saying that there was two ways you could have sex in prison. One was in the bathroom, the second was behind the water cooler, which I presume meant the visiting room. Carol said in a voice audio that was presented in a Netflix documentary.
We kept looking out the window. There's a black guard. It was real nice. After the first day, they didn't care.
She finally divorced the serial killer in 1986. There was rumours that Bundy had started a relationship with Diane Weiner, another one of his lawyers, according to the Time magazine, which could explain Boone's change of heart. Carol died in a retirement home in 2018. Her daughter Rosa is still off the grid today, understandably, and very little is known about her.
According to one psychiatrist, it is a mixture of fear, intrigue, and in particular, sexual attraction.
And so, yes, I do think this is, in an underlying sense, a sexual attraction, using that word very broadly for the moment. But there is no question but what violence does quicken the pulse of many people, and certainly of young women.
Another example is of Doreen Leoy. She was a woman born in 1955 in Burbank, California. She had a chilled upbringing and ended up becoming a successful reporter. After 11 years of writing love letters to Richard Ramirez, who reporters called the Night Stalker, who had murdered and raped over 14 victims, she ended up marrying him in October 3rd, 1996. They had the wedding at the California's San Quentin State Prison, where Ramirez was being held.
And the next day, Doreen walked down the aisle, albeit a prison aisle, with her groom. Here's the couple and her response at being the new Mrs. Richard Ramirez.
It feels wonderful. I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled, very proud, and a little relieved that the bulk of the day is over, and just hopefully I can enjoy the rest of my day in peace with Richard's family and think about the importance of what happened today.
Working as an editor for the Tiger Beat in the late 1970s and the early 1980s, she often met up-and-coming celebrities and groomed them to become cover stars over the years. Actor John Stamos actually credited her with helping him becoming a celebrity. Almost immediately after Richard Ramirez was arrested, Doreen Leoy realised she was attracted to him. No matter how much evidence there was against him, spoiler alert, there was a lot, she refused to believe his verdict and maintained the view of his innocence. She was not the only woman who sent Ramirez love letters, but she was by far the most persistent.
They are the women in black, admirers of Richard Ramirez. Why were you in the courtroom today?
I just wanted to see what he looked like. I think he's cute.
This woman, who gave her name only as Paige, calls herself a Satanist. She says Ramirez has written letters to her and that she's talked with him in jail.
Everyone makes him look so bad, but I know that he's a nice person because I've met him, and I know.
He's convicted of 13 murders.
I know. But he's really a nice guy.
Loyoy sent him 75 letters over 11 years. Doreen also became his most ardent defender in the public eye, sometimes even praising his character in interviews, quoting, "He's kind, he's funny, he's charming," she told CNN. "I think he's a really good person. He's my best friend. He's my buddy."
Reporter Vicky Liviakis has interviewed Doreen Loyoy as part of a documentary on the Night Stalker.
There are many who would look at Richard Ramirez in the eye and say, he is the face of evil. And yet you look at him and you see the man of your dreams.
Yes.
Who needs glasses here?
I can't help the way the world looks at him. They don't know him the way I do.
On August 31st, 1985, Ramirez was arrested and put on death row. He committed 14 murders, several rapes, and was a known Satanist, often marking his victims with satanic symbolisms or symbols. It was on August 31st, after multiple witnesses recognized him on the street, he was vigorously beaten until police arrived on the scene. On their wedding day, Doreen bought a gold band for herself and a platinum one for Richard Ramirez. The colour difference was because Richard had already explained to her that Satanists don't wear gold. The vending machines lined the walls and plastic chairs were bolted to the ground, and it was there the wedding went underway. The pastor removed the line "until death do us part" from the official proceedings. The pastor was quoted saying, "That would be bad form to say here on death row," unquote. It was said that Doreen left Richard when news came out that he was later charged with a new crime while in prison. That charge was of a murder of a 9-year-old in 1984. This was too much for Doreen, and she no longer visited him after this news. She didn't, however, divorce him. News about her and her whereabouts is unknown today. Richard Ramirez died of lymphonia complications in 2013.
It's very out of the usual. It's very out of the norm to be able to do that for a certain amount of time and length, a period of time, and get away with it. Especially the outrageousness of it, the kind of murders that he did.
Their attraction may be difficult to explain, but from Los Angeles to San Francisco, they stalk Ramirez whenever he appears in a courtroom.
How do you respond to people who are going to think you're crazy for this?
I'll just say that they just don't understand.
Jeremy Ray Meeks was arrested on June 18th, 2014, alongside 3 other men. Jeremy, in particular, was arrested for felony weapon charges. The same day, all 3 of their mugshots were posted on Facebook by the Stockton Police Department's Facebook page.
I accidentally became a meme, and this is that story.
Meeks' photo had acquired more than 15,000 likes and 3,700 comments within the first 24 hours. The comments were mainly from women and gay men who admired his looks. The next day, on June 19th, news and entertainment site BuzzFeed recognized Meeks' mugshot as a meme. On Friday, June 20th, Twitter fans created the hashtag #FelonCrushFriday in honor of Meeks' mugshot. On February 5th, 2015, Meeks was convicted by a federal judge on 1 count of being a felon in possession of a firearm and was sentenced to 27 months in federal prison. The judge further ordered Meeks to participate in a 500 hours Bureau of Prison Substance Abuse Treatment program. He was incarcerated at Mendota Federal Correctional Institution. Meeks served 13 months of the sentence and was released from prison March 2016. Soon after his release, though, he became a fashion model. Photographer Jim Jordan approached Jeremy very shortly after his release. Meeks' first modeling headshot was published in June 2016. White Cross Management continues to manage with Meeks and featured Meeks on the cover of their online magazine, James Magazine USA, and White Cross Magazine. Meeks appeared in Tommy Hilfiger's Spring 2018 fashion show in Milan on the February 25th the following year, and appeared in numerous catwalks. September 2019, Frankfurt-based fashion company Fashion Concept GmbH announced a $15 million partnership with Meeks to build a fashion line in his name. The fashion line launched in July 2020. In 2022, GmbH filed for bankruptcy after alleged fraudulent practices were discovered. He also became an actor and guest starred in a fair few films from 2019 onwards. Now I'm going to jump in and give my 2 cents here. I don't think it's a bad thing at all that Jeremy changed his life around after committing a fairly bad crime. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the crime, it wasn't murder. It was bad, sure, but it wasn't real bad. I think that whole concept of him changing his life around and him making a living out of a mugshot is pretty damn great. I think good on him. Good on Jeremy. That's not the problem. And maybe a problem is a strong word. But the reason why I put him on this list is because how he got famous. The reality of the situation is that he became famous because of a mugshot, because he was so liked because of his good looks and wooed many women and gay men alike. That's why he's on the list. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of celebrities who have famous mugshots, but there's a difference. You have Elvis Presley's famous mugshot, you have Marilyn Monroe's famous mugshot, you have President Donald J. Trump's famous mugshot. However, there's a big difference though. They were already famous. They didn't get famous because of a mugshot. Jeremy Meeks got famous because of a single mugshot, because he was going to jail, and because, again, women and gay men loved him and for his looks, a lot for his looks. Hey, to be fair, kind of blame them. But yeah, that's why he's on the list anyway. I find the whole concept just crazy in reality. But again, good on Jeremy, to be honest. I actually think good on Jeremy for changing his life around. You know, I generally, good on him. Luigi Mangione is probably the most recent case of hybristophilia, and certainly the most recent for social debate. Luigi, if you don't already know by now, was arrested for executing a planned assassination on the CEO of American health insurance company United Healthcare. Brian Thompson was his name.
A person in custody on unrelated charges now being questioned today in connection with the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. A McDonald's worker in Altoona, Pennsylvania, recognized the suspect from the images police have been circulating around the world.
After the arrest, Luigi made a manifesto explaining why he did it. Long story short, he was very against the American healthcare system and its many downfalls. He thought the system was exploitative and basically saw how it was screwing over the poor. The killing itself was up for moral debate apparently, with some people calling him a quote Robin Hood unquote, while others believe the man he killed quote had it coming unquote. The fact is, Luigi's a cold-blooded killer who carefully planned and succeeded in assassinating another man. With his arrest, lots of people came to his defense. He's already received a lot of fan mail while he's been in prison, as well as comedians making jokes.
We got Luigi. He actually killed a man, a man with a family, a man with kids, man. I mean, I have condolences. I'm gonna have real condolences for, the healthcare CEO. I mean, this is a real person, But you also gotta go. Sometimes drug dealers get shot. I mean, you've seen The Wire, right?
There's also all the meme pages making memes about him. He is absolutely adored by many who believe he should be let go for the crime because his crime was done out of, quote, good faith, unquote. He has fan pages out there across social media, and seeing these was quite the sight to behold. A few final examples I'll give is Jeffrey Dahmer receiving love letters and marriage proposals from a load of women, even though Jeffrey Dahmer was a gay man who killed many other gay men. Charles Manson, the well-known cult leader, received many of love letters too, and the list of murderers, serial killers, and even worse, who receive so many love letters and admirers continue to grow. So what does this mean for us in today's society? Is this society's moral decline unfolding right before our eyes for us all to see and witness publicly? Or is this a primitive instinctual mentality that has always been within us since caveman days that have never gone away? Our minds, bodies being driven to dangerous men simply because of nature? Is this what people meant in the 90s when they were screaming that video games cause violence to be accepted? With violence being exposed to us in all forms of media, including movies, the internet, the news, have we become too exposed to violence that we just accept it way more in today's society? Or again, is this simply a case of ugh, man kill, man protect, be have sex with man, ugh. I'm genuinely torn. I'm continuing to find out myself what all this means. I'm fascinated by it. I would love to hear from you guys and your opinions. So share them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And with that, take care and stay safe.